stuff.
Yeah. So tell me about the name, Save the Day. Was that really just kind of the solution?
No, well, I mean, ironically, it took us forever to come up with that.
It was a painful process to come up with a name.
Months.
Yeah.
Right.
The seasonings were so much easier to make than coming up with a name.
But, oh yeah. This is a common entrepreneur struggle all the time.
Because you have things like trademarks to worry about, right?
Exactly.
It can't even be close to something else. Like you said,
Agreed.
Lunchbox and whatever else, that other one was not even really that. But you would like the same protection for yours,
Absolutely.
So we came up with a few names before, and Save the Day was originally one that we had down on a long list, and we just kind of ignored it for a long time. But then at the end, we realized there's a lot that we do that we're passionate about. That's not just seasonings, but it combines our love for food, our love for helping people make cooking easier and tastier and healthier, to sort of come in and make a person a superhero in the kitchen so that they can save the day for their family. So we as a company, we like to be the ones that come help you save the day then for your family. And it helps a lot today because, what everybody's going through, like everybody in the world is affected, right?
Absolutely.
And the name itself indicates that, hey, we're here as we're in it together. Whatever we're doing here, who knows, we're doing it together.
Right. So, tell me a little bit about your business and how that started.
How it started? Well, my wife and I, we've been married for 23 years, but I am a food guy and foodie, lifetime foodie. When I was a little kid, it was just never any question of what I was going to do when I grew up. I mean, I was going to be a chef. I started cooking at a young age for my family, and as I grew up, I just became more and more interested in food. And I worked as a chef, a baker, a cake decorator for 14 years. And at one point, I realized that, I probably don't want to work nights, weekends, and holidays my whole life.
Right.
So
it's hard work.
Let's think about this life thing, because I'm married now and we're starting to have kids. And so went to college at Boise State, and I got a computer information systems degree. And then I was an enterprise software engineer and Oracle database administrator for 15 years.
That is a crazy shift.
It's a crazy shift, but it does provide a well-rounded knowledge base to understand a little bit more about business, especially on the IT side, because that's a confusing area for a lot of people. Like, what is it? What do you need for IT? But I noticed as I was doing food, I knew that I could still be passionate about it and do it whatever I want with food on the side. It was just that I couldn't do that for a living forever. Mm-hmm. But as I was working at Boise Cascade down in downtown Boise, their division was purchased by another division, and then I had a chance then, since I got laid off at that time, to start the seasoning business at that time, because I knew I had a lot of food passion in me, and I was like, what can I do? Didn't want to be a chef, but the seasonings sort of became a thing that helped my family, because I originally made them so that our cooking would be easier.
Yeah.
We could have a single blend, say, example, for a Mexican or Indian blend that you could put on chicken, you could put on beans and rice, you could put on eggs in the morning, like whatever you had. So then it created a bunch of seasonings that didn't matter what you had on hand. You could just make it any flavor you want. So if you had a bunch of chicken on hand, which right now is, people have stuff on hand.
Right.
They don't want to go to the store again and have to use all this chicken or salmon or pasta or whatever they have.
Yeah.
But then they take any flavor of seasoning. We have 18 flavors now, and just make it whatever they want any night. So you can kind of have a different meal each night using the same food.
I'll add something to the story. Really, him developing the blends was problem solving for our own household. He would come home from working all day long at the office, and even though I know how to cook some, we all love his cooking better, right?
Right.
So he'd come through the door after
They're
a
like,
long
Mom's
day, and
cooking.
the kids, kids would be like, "What's for dinner, Dad? What's for dinner?" And so he designed these blends basically to solve his own problem of having really easy cooking and having it all ready to go. And so one Christmas we thought, let's give some away for Christmas. We love them, right? So
I love it.
We gave some spices away, family and friends. And it really wasn't long after that people started saying, you know what? I've run out of that, and I would totally buy more. Can you just make me some more? And so that added to the story.
Or even more, some parents were saying, my kid is eating broccoli for the first time.
Right?
What is this stuff?
This is magic stuff.
It's so good. Yeah. I love that. I love how it just kind of came out of a passion that you have. Yet you're working IT. My husband works IT, so I totally get that side of things. And that can be mundane and very, a very challenging, position all on its own. And then to come home to a hungry family and you're supposed to be the best cook in the house, that's got to be a challenge.
He was in demand.
And every family has those kinds of struggles. And a lot of have two parents working or whatever, and you still have to cook every day. It requires some planning, it requires something on hand, and you have to eat. So why not make it easier? And it works so well that it was like 3 months after that Christmas, my sister is like, you have to go in business. I've never had anything like this. So we did.
So now you can do some of the cooking because you're using his seasonings, so that lightens the load all across the board, which is awesome.
It really makes you feel like you're a chef. Like you know what you're doing when you don't have to. So when he's out of town, which he travels a bit, when I'm feeding the family, it feels like Dad's home cooking. Yeah. So it makes it easier.
That's fantastic. So where are you guys typically selling at right now?
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, not too many places. Well, we are a direct sales company, and so we sell at fairs and festivals and events like that. People will join our company as distributors, and they'll sell from their homes. They can do home cooking tastings and recipe clubs and things like that, freezer meal things, or they can go to a work of barbecue or something like that. And while we're waiting for gatherings to happen again, we do it's online now. So SaveTheDaySeasonings.com is our website. We have out there you can go and check out anything you want. So that's where most of our business is right now, while we're waiting to get back to the fairs and festivals.
So tell me about the name Save the Day. Was that really just kind of the solution?
No, well, ironically, it took us forever to come up with that.
It was a painful process to come up with a name.
Months.
Yeah.
The seasonings were so much easier to make than coming up with a name.
But, this is a common entrepreneur struggle all the time.
Because you have things like trademarks to worry about, right?
Exactly.
It can't even be close to something else. Like you said,
Agreed.
Lunchbox and whatever else that other one was not even really that. But you would like the same protection for yours,
Absolutely.
So we came up with a few names before, and Save the Day was originally one that we had down on a long list, and we just kind of ignored it for a long time. But then at the end, we realized there's a lot that we do that we're passionate about. That's not just seasonings, but it combines our love for food, our love for helping people make cooking easier and tastier and healthier, to sort of come in and make a person a superhero in the kitchen so that they can save the day for their family. So we as a company, we like to be the ones that come help you save the day then for your family. And it helps a lot today because, what everybody's going through, everybody in the world is affected, right?
Absolutely.
And the name itself indicates that, hey, we're here as we're in it together. Whatever we're doing here, who knows? We're doing it together.
Right.
And we want to be part of that, and our name is reflective of that passion that we have. So Save the Day, for us, it means that we can make something easier for somebody, a tired mom, a frustrated father working hard. Then that's reward for us.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I love that. And I know that you guys also have some passion projects on the side as far as your heart goes. So tell me more about that.
Well, with most people, I think once you find a combination of something you're passionate about, the right opportunity, and some vehicle to put that into motion with, then that's like the perfect combination of success, of potential for success. And so we have a few, but they're encompassed in one main one, which is our nonprofit concept, the Save the Day Society. And it's a bit of a new concept, and it does take a little bit to explain why we consider it a little bit of a different concept. But essentially, it's a networking resource that provides help and services, but also networks with other organizations and individuals to best match up needs with resources.
Right.
So let's just, for an example, one of many cases could be a contractor that is struggling to keep a business going and needs, say, a generator and doesn't have any money, but really needs a generator to do his work. he can search the Save the Day Society and then find someone who maybe I have a generator, I'll trade it for remodeling work on my kitchen. Something like that where like we have a need here. Here's somebody who has what you need, maybe for a trade or, anyway, but it could pin up people with various hard to satisfy needs or that very specific or individualized needs.
Right.
Whereas a lot of times in our current society, we have systems for hands. So let's just say the healthcare system, for example. If you enter the healthcare system, you are a system patient, right?
Yes.
And again, we've seen this in our family over and over again. You're treated by the general guidelines of those symptoms, but in many cases we've seen it's not in the best interest of the patient.
Yeah.
It sends them into a different or even a misdiagnosis or a series of pharmaceuticals that...
Right. Because at best, they know a lot about what they've studied, but the human body is very interesting, and they are literally just guessing on their best day.
Just guessing, yeah. So if we can take that and we can hone that concept into more of an individualized, holistic approach to what can help this person in their life achieve the most success and happiness as who they are.
Right.
With their weaknesses, with their, whatever, their strengths and weaknesses together, forming the individual. Doesn't mean that you have to change who you are to improve your life.
Right.
You just have to think differently, believe differently.
Right.
And take advantage of the opportunities that are all around us.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of red tape in the systems that we have because money's always involved.
Yes.
And we want to empower any funds that come through our nonprofit to really all be about and have the flexibility without all these purse strings involved to really help people when they're at the points of a crossroads where something could lead to tragedy, or if someone could step in and just help stop the bleeding for the minute and really give resources and connect people. That's where I think we can really see major success in people's needs. So that's kind of our outside the box way to help connect the dots in the world.
Yeah, because something, like you were saying as an example, a generator which could help someone to continue to run their business, which means they could continue to make money, provide for their family, like the trickle down effect of something that simple when I may have a generator that's just sitting here and I'm not currently using it.
Right,
so it's not hurting me to have them borrow it or whatever, use it for the time being until they can move forward.
So I have a real quick story then to tell on that line.
Yeah.
Actually, when we have an experience that actually fueled the passion a little bit more for this, which is a couple of years ago when we were, our business, we've been doing it about 5 years now. And it's been the same struggle that all business owners have. You have to figure out how to run your business, which is, it's like a person,
Yes.
You don't know everything. You know basic things about babies and they come into the world, but you don't know anything about that baby.
Right. I agree.
And so, anyway, we were, we needed financing and funds, and we're like, well, we don't have any resources, but we have our home. So let's put our home on the market. And, that was like a last resort for us, but let's do it because that's all we have right now.
Right.
We'd already been in business for a few years, and our home had no maintenance on it at all because all money was going into the business. It was neglected. Sure. So we're like, well, let's just see. And then the inspector came in, and it's like the roof needed replacing. There was mold. There was problems. I mean, so anyway, our basic option was to sell to one of those flip.
Right.
They're going to buy low and they're going to as low as they can, and then because we didn't have time to put in to
the resources
to fix it up. I mean, we really couldn't do anything. So I'll make a long story a little bit shorter. Basically, I mean, we only had one semi-offer, and it would have netted us
low ball.
like $28,000, right? Netted us $28,000,
which was defeating the entire purpose.
We needed personal money. We needed money for business. So, but in the end, we needed something. So I remember one specific day I was working an event in Oregon. And during a break, I was talking to Jen, and it was a really depressing time because we were trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, we need to make the call. We need to just sell because we need something. Like, I mean, I'll just take a
feeling
little.
desperate.
It's not
Sure.
enough, but man, we'll take something. And she's like, just give me a few more minutes. And a few minutes later, she gives me a call and says she'd gotten a hold of a friend of ours who also owned a business. And she didn't even get to tell him the whole story, just part of it. And he's like, all right, well, whatever you do, just don't make the call. Don't take the offer. Whatever it is, I mean, I don't know your situation, but let's just look at it, but don't take the offer.
Right.
And it turns out after just some basic conversations, I mean, he was willing to say, okay, well, what does your house need? Well, it needs the mold, it needs the roof and all this other stuff. And he's like, well, I will cover the cost of the roof, the mold, or whatever. And then when you sell it, you can pay me back with the proceeds. And it was and I can't even tell you how fast it was, but it was going from complete desperation, all of a sudden after a 30-second conversation with her, to all of a sudden a sense of hope.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, I'm like, there's hope.
All of those feelings literally like disintegrated.
They just disintegrate until
Yeah.
now a whole new set of feelings comes in. What can I do? And so now I'm hugely motivated to like, okay, we have a crack of time here that we can do all we can. 6 weeks later, we sold the house and we netted over $130,000.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And that was
Over
because
100,000 more than had we just
right.
gone with
Taking
what we
a little
thought our
borrow.
only
Because
options were.
one person who ended up only needing the roof
Yeah.
because we did everything else blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
ourselves.
We were able to swing the rest.
But it took one person that ended up costing him zero. He made no sacrifice other than a temporary loan.
Yeah.
And for us, it was quite literally life-changing.
Yeah.
So think about how many people, and this fits into our philosophy of if you can stop the bleeding at the right time, we can prevent a world of other problems. That is how marriages crumble. Abuse happens. Trauma happens. Suicide.
Yeah.
You name it. After that call says, okay, I'll sell at $28,000.
Right.
And now what do? Now the marriage is strained because we can't pay our bills, right? And it continues and progresses and snowballs.
Right.
Instead of saying, okay, now I'm motivated, I have a glimmer of hope. And it doesn't mean somebody came in and did the work for me. That's the important part.
Yes.
Somebody came in and said, I'll stop the bleeding. I'll put the tourniquet on.
Right.
Get to work.
Right.
And so then we get to work. And that is the philosophy that we embrace as to how to help people. Because you can give people as much as you want, and it will never change people.
Right. Very
That-
much the philosophy of give a man a fish
Yes.
versus
Exactly.
teaching them to
Right.
fish.
Right.
But most people, and I think a lot of people fall into this trap of thinking giving, period, causes that. And so they don't give.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but giving at the right time is critical.
Yeah.
That you don't require anything back. I'm going to give you this.
And like he
And-
said, really, it's hope. It's a path out of the pit you might feel you're in.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to completely lift someone out all on your own accord or pay for
Sure.
everything and no return of
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, but yeah, you get the concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll hold my hand out.
Yes.
You still have to
Yes,
climb your
let's
way
help,
up.
help it
Yes.
not happen
Yeah.
again by either educating or going through therapies if you've been traumatized or whatever it is you need to feel like you
Yes.
can now be a contributor yourself. That circle goes around.
Right.
You reach out, you help, you lift another so they can pay it forward and help the next person because they have, like we felt very blessed and supported at a time we needed
Yeah.
help. Now we are more compelled to formulate something to help other people. So
Yeah.
that one act that this gentleman did has tenfold, hopefully, and many more in the
Right.
future, help other people. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I emphasize again, it cost him nothing.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we can help people. And yeah, there's a risk, but he made a risk by laying out $8,000 for a roof, right?
Right.
But in the end, it wasn't really a risk because, he would get that back even if we sold at a low amount. So in
Right.
the end, you can go in and do all kinds of help if you have the ability to help. at very little risk to yourself if you're looking for the opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. I know you also do some photography work.
Do.
Tell me about that.
So that's my passion that I brought into the marriage. Been doing it for about 11 years now. But I started out as a fine arts major, so I've always loved the arts. But after having kids, I picked up my camera and got a little more involved with that, and it just kind of blossomed to a business. And now it works really well. I still do my business with like seniors and families and engagements and whatnot.
High school seniors.
Yes.
High school seniors.
Yes.
Yes, high school seniors. However, it's been a wonderful skill and an asset to our Save the Day business. So I do like all the photography. He cooks up amazing meals. I do the food photography. I do the product photography, all the marketing, any social media, all of the visuals. I have that skill set to bring to the table. So it's been a great partnership.
I love it because it makes a good connection. Everybody, talks about how when you look back at your life, you can see that the skills that you earned really drove you to the place where you're at now, or you need them.
Yeah.
And I remember going to school for graphic design here locally, and then this was a long time ago. But at the time, like, there really wasn't a job for graphic designers here in this area. Like, you had to live in LA or New York or something like that. So I was devastated and couldn't figure out how I was ever going to use this skill that I had just paid $30,000 for.
Yeah.
But so, but as I got into other businesses and still with this business today, my graphic design skills have made me so much money in the long run, as far as being able to have those skills and not pay others and be able to see what others don't, as far as that stylized side
now
of
that
things.
we're in the digital age, every business needs to have a visual presence.
Yes.
And so those skills are far more important than maybe back when you were earning.
Absolutely. So I love that you guys have dug into all of your different skills, the things that you're really good at, and put those to use to make all parts of it successful.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about her photography accomplishments. She won't tell you very much about it.
She's not a bragger.
She's on the board of directors for Professional Photographers of Idaho, and she's been for several years. And this year she is functioning as the president of the board of directors.
Oh my
this year.
gosh.
We're busy.
Yeah.
We keep ourselves busy.
Last year in 2018, you were Photographer of the Year for State of Idaho.
Oh my gosh.
It was a great honor there.
That was fun.
Same year, she was selected to be one of the representatives of the United States in the World Photographic Cup, one of 18 people in the nation.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was selected in her category.
That blew me
You
away.
are really downplaying your photography
It blew me away.
skills.
I still
She won't say it. I will say it plenty. So she's very accomplished. In fact, 4 or 5 years ago, when which kind of started the whole ball rolling as far as her involvement, was when she scored the highest unanimous perfect score in district competition on one of her images. 100 score is like, that's everybody wants.
Yeah. And no one ever gets it.
They get them, but you throw out the lowest
It was
scores.
the first for me, and that
Hers
was
was unanimous for the judges, even though you can throw out the lowest, and so some 100s are not unanimous, right? But anyway, hers was unanimous. But anyway,
It was fun.
great moment there.
Yes.
So she's done a lot of stuff. She's a very skilled. She's a fine arts photographer, which is way different than just taking your picture and here you go. So anyway, it's been a great blessing to our.
I love it. I love that he brags on you. That's awesome. So obviously, as a couple in business together, what are the skills that you have put together between you to make sure that isn't a constant strain on your marriage?
Boy, that's a valuable question to ask.
We often give ourselves that pat on the back of you know what? We are still married and we should celebrate that.
Right?
Because it's hard enough to have a relationship last outside of also being business partners. We live together, we work together in the same home right now. So sometimes space is best.
You're like, we're going our separate ways for just a few minutes.
It's an evolving work every day. It really is. But it's all fueled by our passion and our love for each other and a love for what we want to do together.
Yeah.
But communication is huge, and forgiveness is huge, and continually being willing to evolve and look at yourself
sure.
in the mirror.
For sure.
Yeah,
huge.
those are huge things, because just life itself, as she said, throws enough at you, just as we know right now, that just living life throws enough to be a strain on any marriage.
Absolutely.
But throw in the added of trying to keep a business going and doing it all together, having the conflict that would normally arise, say, between a president and a CEO, just within work partners, but
Sure.
you're also married. So there's additional dynamics that are
Yeah.
involved there, which complicate the matter.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean
Makes it more emotional.
it's more, there's more emotions involved, there's more history involved,
Yeah.
and so you have all those things, which forces you then either to communicate better or the relationship downgrades.
Yeah.
And so it's going to downgrade automatically unless you force yourself to communicate better.
Right.
And it's not just communicating more, it's really learning how to communicate better. So not only have we worked on the issues, communication in running a business, but in our own personal lives. And then we also, it's helped us there to be
Yeah.
able to take those same patterns. We've had to deal with things, and now that makes us better at dealing with the things that we, like, if we didn't have a business right now, I'm like, oh, well, life isn't even challenging. It's like,
Me too.
I love it. Only an entrepreneur would say that. Like,
I know.
literally, no one else says that.
yeah. You talk to other entrepreneurs, and they give you the wink and the nod, and like, oh yeah, okay.
Right.
You've every phase. You have to go through every phase.
Everyone.
Nobody is exempt. Right?
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
I think having that added thing has allowed us to really look to not only learning about, like, you read a book to learn about your business, you listen to a podcast. We have to do the same thing for our own personal individual lives and as a couple. So, we listen to people that help us hone ourselves as people and
Right.
as couples. So life coaches and things like that really can help you.
Yeah.
You just have to have that as part of your work, as part of your
Absolutely.
day. You have to schedule it in. You have to make it a priority.
Yeah. So, in talking about that, what are some of the skills that you guys use to stay focused and motivated on this train every single day, day after day? Because it can grate on you.
Oh yeah.
Well, train is a good, but also maybe airplane would be better, because train is on a track.
Yes,
And you
true.
know where it's going.
True.
But-
The airplane can take a left at any moment.
In the entrepreneurial world, every day is a new adventure. You don't know what's going to happen. It could be a worldwide virus, or it could be a bad sales day. It could be
Sure.
any range of things, and all of them affect your decisions that you make in your relationships and how you communicate and what you're willing to talk about that day. And so the habits, though, that we've established is an iterative process of, let's try talking every morning, right? We're going to talk business every morning or every night or whenever it is.
Right.
And then we say, well, there's parts of that are not working, because in the morning is when we're busier and getting ready and others. So let's try at night, Anyway, you do one thing and you find the parts of it that are working well for you and serving you well.
Right.
And then you mold it and form it, and that's why it's such an individual thing, just like the individual life or the baby or the business. It's so dynamic and changing that it becomes unpredictable. But if you do certain things every single day, now for me, meditation's a very important thing.
Yes.
Study and learning is very important. Mindset is critical in believing and changing those self-limiting beliefs that we have.
Yes.
Doing a little work each day on those things means a lot, and it means that you're going to unearth some things that are uncomfortable, like, because the tagline I use a lot with,
Yes.
there's a podcast we listen to.
We love it, yes.
The living an extraordinary life is not easy or comfortable. It's so much better than that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But you have to make yourself a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
and a little difficult
Right.
to get to parts where you say, oh, now my world is bigger.
Right.
Now my understanding is greater.
Yeah.
Now our relationship is deeper. That
Yes.
kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who says, I'm just like, I can't wait till I'm comfortable. I'm like, oh, that is a nasty
that's-
word in my vocabulary.
It's no growth zone.
Yes,
Yes.
I don't, if I am comfortable, there is something wrong. Now that doesn't mean that we don't take breaks. Like,
Yeah,
obviously we
right.
all need downtime. We all need that recovery or whatever. So there's definitely room for that, but comfortable as a
End goal?
endpoint? No.
No, because comfort is not the end goal that we believe is the end goal. Comfort is not the end goal.
No.
Happiness is the end goal, really. I mean, it should be.
Fulfillment.
Yes.
Fulfillment.
Agreed.
But you
And
must
learning.
feel those things regardless of what's going on around you in the circumstances. So with us in our business, I've noticed over time, and where at the beginning, when I'm feeling less in control of everything, the circumstances surrounding myself over time didn't change. Meaning we're still crunch time. We're still having to struggle to pay bills. We're still struggling employee situations. Anyway, things like that. But over time, your experience grows so that those same experiences then you handle much, much better
Absolutely.
later. And so the circumstances that are surrounding us are exactly the same. We still have no money. We still struggle through things and whatever it is.
Right. That's called the.
But why
An
am I
entrepreneur
happier
life.
now, right? And I can ask myself, why am I happier now than a year ago? Because I'm in the same situation. But it's the way I believe about my situation around me.
Yeah.
That situation does not control the happiness.
Yeah.
The level of comfort does not control the level of happiness. It's only there as our leader and our guide to our next phase of growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
That never ends in 100% comfort. It ends in a moment of realization, which brings comfort,
Yes.
understanding, which brings comfort, moments of comfort, great, better relationships, which also bring more comfort. And you find yourself all of a sudden, oh, I guess I'm happy today.
Right.
And I chose to be happy today.
Yeah.
And I feel able to be happy today
Right.
because of months and months of daily practice on convincing your subconscious that you're awesome, you're doing a good job. Any negatives feelings you feel are okay to feel.
Right.
Feel through them and then move on from them.
I think one of the biggest things entrepreneurs or anybody who's trying to succeed in something is when you have things that feel like they keep going wrong, or you have what feels like a negative consequence, or maybe I should give up, maybe this is a sign that this
Right.
isn't working.
Piling
what am
on,
I
sort of.
trying? Who do I think I am? I think
Imposter
a huge,
syndrome.
help in overcoming that is realizing that that's just information, and you're learning. If you think of Thomas Edison or any inventor or anyone who's created anything of significance in the world, if you count how many times they failed before they had success, I mean, it's easy to think about that for someone else, but really to apply it to yourself and
Right.
say,
How many
you know
times
what?
have I failed? Oh,
Yeah.
3.
It's not
wow.
really failure.
It's really not that much.
Yeah, it's
Maybe I should
information.
try.
In fact, the more you go and the more information you have, the better chance that the next time might be the time that really starts giving you traction.
Yeah.
So if you give up before then, it's premature.
Yeah.
That's the hardest time, is at the beginning. So keep getting that information. So by the time you get to where you want to, your goals will achieve after you've given it enough time to achieve.
Yeah.
I think we're going to live in such a now society. We want it easy and quick.
Yeah.
It's hard to allow yourself that time to go through that learning process.
Absolutely. And I think, just from my perspective, and, knowing a lot of different couples, some in business together, some not, I think the one thing that I can see that the two of you have is that you're both working to grow individually and together. So
Yeah.
that both of you have the same mindset, the same values, the same goals in mind. You both want to be better as people, better together as a couple, better as business owners. And that is really, really rare. It really is a blessing.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, because it's not so easy, because you identify two parts, right? Yourself and the
Yes.
the relationship. It's really easy to be tempted. Well, number one, when things start going wrong in multiples, to say, maybe that's a sign I shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
But really the right question to ask is, what am I doing wrong right now? Because I already feel in my heart that this is right.
Right.
But we give up too soon on that. But also, what ends up getting stirred up is if you focus on yourself and a relationship with somebody else at the same time, you're going to stir up trouble.
Right.
Right? You're going to stir up trouble because you're focusing on yourself,
Agreed.
but also relationship things. So if you focus on, well, how do we need to communicate to make sure the relationship is strong? But sometimes, what do I have to do to serve myself best means we have to talk about something difficult.
Yes.
And it has to bring up emotions that we really don't want to feel, but
Right.
we know we have to, because in order for me to feel my best self, and for us to work together also as companionship and partnership best, we have to work through those issues that a lot of cases have built up over 2 decades of marriage that we've just sort of, we're just not going to deal with this right now. Old habits of communication that we can't.
Right.
Because we have to work together, and I have to be myself too.
When we keep changing, so maybe the habits that we had in our early marriage worked at the time when we had young children, or life was different.
Right.
But we tend to work, our brains want to work in autopilot all the time. They doesn't want to always be reevaluating and changing. We want things to be simple. We want to have it be auto. So it does require constant evolvement. And I just want to add how much I appreciate that my husband has been so supportive of me as a woman to fulfill my own business, my own passions. There's no way I would have had those accomplishments had he not allowed me to spend hours and hours working on my images and preparing them for competition, and not throw out the guilt trip of what about us, what about me, what about our other business, anything like that. I mean, I think what happens, and like what you're trying to express, is that by having that individual fulfillment, as well as opportunities to grow in ways that I can't get outside of other situations. So the skills that I've learned in my leadership in my photography world have come into play. Like I just put on our state convention through our photography group, and we pulled in judges and speakers from across the country to have this convention. Now I have that skill to bring to our Save the Day business when we have our future conventions. You know, I wouldn't be in that position to be able to lead in that way had he not been, you know, had he been threatened by that, or miffed or put out or whatever. So that's where supporting each other to have your individuality is really key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So in your business, as well as your life, because sometimes they definitely overlap, what are some of the non-negotiables? Like, what is this has to happen no matter what? I have to have this.
Well, do you want to?
Yeah, well, for me, it's my outlet of doing photography, but also I'm not very good at this, but making sure that we have some downtime. Yeah. And actually, he's much better at it. I'm the one that tends to push. Let's talk about business outside of business hours, because he's right there and I have a great idea. Right. And so he's pretty good about, like, you know what? Let's be done talking about business. Right. Let's watch a movie. Let's go for a walk. Let's go on a date. It's really hard to make that be a priority. So I can't say that's non-negotiable. It should be non-negotiable. Right. It needs to be. Yeah. So that's definitely something I aim to be better at. But for me, I think a big part of it is just making sure that we stay true to our vision of wanting to help others, and to keep our direct sales company in line with our personal values. We recognize that sometimes some direct sales companies can cross boundaries that put a black eye on the industry, or people feel like it's, you know, I'm not making money, or there's things that can make it feel like it's not a viable business. Right. Our passion is to prove otherwise, you know, and to keep things where we're truly helping people make it a really good earning opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So non-negotiables, there's really 2 categories for me. There's the personal, and then there's the business. Yeah. And both are critically important to make sure you do have non-negotiables, because if you don't, there's no chance of success in my opinion. Because you know, you have to have things that you are
safeguarding.
Yeah, the elements that make your business you, right? And that make you, that you can't let other people override for you. Those are your non-negotiables. For personally, it's making sure I do certain things every day. Like I make sure I take my time to meditate each day, to stretch each day, and to do other things that fill certain areas of balance in my life, so that I can make sure that at the end of the day, my brain has a little check mark by those important things. Yeah. So I am committed to stretch every single day. And if I'm at the end of the day and I haven't stretched, 30 seconds, great. Stretch for 30 seconds. And no, I haven't done my 15-minute stretch, but my mind says stretch is done today, because it doesn't matter. It was done. And even if I only had time to do 30 seconds, I did it. Right. Because that's how the brain works. It checks the box off for the day and says, we're good. So that the next day I can wake up and say, I still haven't missed a day. Right. And that gives me more motivation. Yeah. Right. And so things like that personal, but on the business side, I like to call them keystone habits or values, keystone, such as safety, the things we keep in mind with all of our decisions in the business. For us, that's safety, quality, customer service, vision for the future, and positive outcomes. And so those are things we search for as we build our processes, filling in order, right? All those qualities and habits are built into our process of filling in order. What can we do to make sure our quality? So we have affordable products, but we don't compete on price.
Right.
We make sure our quality is the highest, and customer service are the keystone things that we take care of, and price will take care of itself, right? And so just having a set of values that are true to you in your business. If you're an entrepreneur, then yes. If you're just an employee or worker, then you have your values that are non-negotiable, right? You are who you are, and you're not going to negotiate those parts of you. And so we've built those parts into the business. In every decision we make, those values go into those decisions. So that's how they become non-negotiable.
Yeah, and just to add, I was just thinking, even with our product, say the seasonings, there's some health claims that we are also non-negotiable. So some of the things we share with people is the seasonings are gluten-free. There's no MSG, no additives, fillers, dyes, preservatives. They're all natural. And so that's something that our customers have come to be rest assured when they buy our seasonings that they're getting, all the other stuff in there.
Right. Which is a big deal for a lot of people.
It is.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of allergies and health concerns. And so usually, no matter most diets or anything anybody's needing to conform around, they feel like, okay, at least I can flavor my food with your seasonings, and it's not going to affect that.
Which is awesome. I love that.
Personally and professionally, though, what's non-negotiable, unfortunately, we don't treat as non-negotiable. Like we have to treat it as non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we don't, it will become non-negotiable. It will become
There's always
negotiable.
reasons to morph and change pressures all around.
Obviously. Obviously. Yeah.
So it takes focused attention, is what I'm saying.
Every day.
Yes. But again, that focused attention becomes easier and easier. To where I don't have to think now. I've done it for over 2 years now, stretching every day. Right? I don't have to think about it. I just do it.
Habit.
It's a habit.
Yeah.
And so no problem anymore, right? It's just part of my day. But 2 years ago, stretching every day when I couldn't touch my toes, it was a struggle. There was dips, and then there was, I was good, and then I wasn't good for a while.
Right.
So it's just a matter of working through those. And people say 21 days for a habit. I think it's more like 6 to 8 weeks, I think, for the brain to really rebuild those connections to where it really becomes a habit, not just something the brain says, I think this is pretty good. But then when you're done, it's like, remember what we did back then? And you're always like, Anyway.
And I think that
non-negotiable means the subconscious and the conscious are on the same page.
Yeah. And I think those habits can almost be undone
They can
easier than they can be
way
done,
easier.
for sure. Yeah. Because you can go to the gym every day for a year and then not go for 2 weeks. And going back is real hard.
Starting over.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So tell people where we can find you.
Well, since we are a direct sales company, we do fairs and festivals all over. We have direct sales consultants, about 20 right now, that are in mostly Western states, and we have one in Ohio, who's one of our best ones, actually. And we sell online a lot, and we through our direct sales consultant and ourselves as well. We love to do cooking demos. I'm such a foodie. I will love to go to people's homes or works and do cooking demos or freezer meals or teaching how to make real easy, simple foods with stuff you have on hand. How to substitute things what you do have on hand for what you're missing. So I specialize in all that. And so we can help teach and train people to be able to do that. You can always go online, savetheDaySeasonings.com, always, and guess. And right now, that's the place to go because we're not doing the in-person stuff. So
right. Yeah. Totally understand.
Anything other?
What about where we can find your photography business?
Yeah, so it's just my name, Jen Alvi, which is ALVI. So JenAlviPhotography.com.
Nice.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Jen Alvi, @Jen Alvi on Instagram. Yeah. So.
And we'll definitely include all of your contact information in the show notes for sure.
Awesome.
So, my last question, which we've pretty much already talked about, but I want to give you one last opportunity to say anything you haven't yet. How do you give back?
How do we give back? That's a really multifaceted question because in order to give back, we must be able to have the wherewithal to contribute.
Yes.
Right, to give back. So there's multiple ways you can give back. As new entrepreneurs, we are figuring out ways that as we grow, we can also give back through the Save the Day Society. Mm-hmm. But how do we give back before we're really crossed that edge?
Right.
How do people normally give back if you don't have money or if you're struggling yourself? How do you give back when you're struggling, right?
Yes.
Well, the answer to the question is that is really the solution to struggle, is to find ways to give. Like yesterday, we had a new neighbor move over. I brought him a few little sample bags of seasonings just as we met the other day, and he was curious about the seasonings. And so giving back is just getting to know a neighbor, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost me anything to get to know a neighbor, right? And it doesn't cost me anything to make a phone call to somebody I haven't talked to for a while, to say hi to a Facebook friend that I haven't chatted with for a little while, right? Yeah. And so if there's no money, giving back is still a necessity because for our own happiness to be able to give back. Being nice and kind, to people.
I would say too, most recently, he's been really trying to do almost a daily Facebook Live on our Save the Day Facebook page. Yeah. Just specifically helping people make really quick, easy meals with whatever they might have on hand. We just recently did like a really easy pizza. I mean, that's comfort food. If you can't go out and your kids want pizza and maybe you've never made it before and you don't have yeast, you don't have a bread machine, what do you do? So he just showed them real easy how to do that. And I think that stems from his desire, our desire to help make it, especially in this current situation, get back.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it very much. I really have enjoyed chatting with you guys, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to come and talk.
Environment and it feels like exactly where I'm supposed to be. So I don't worry about all the details. I'm like, I'll figure that out. When I see something that's not working, we'll find the next solution. I know I'm not going to know everything today. So we'll figure it out along the way.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So